I think that this is an excellent lens.
Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and professionally I'm a software developer, but in my free time I love landscape photography and making related videos here on YouTube. Today I'm out here for some landscape photography. It is about 8 o'clock in the morning right now. The sun rose about 6 o'clock this morning, meaning that it's past golden hour now, but there's still kind of some light that's, more golden in hue than it would be midday, and a little bit more directional than it would be in the middle of the day as well. And so I'm out here hoping to go along the river that's behind me in these trees. Get off of the trail here. I believe you can do that here for river access, and so to make my way down there to the river and take some pictures in the woods by the river. I was here last year, about a year ago, and that was just really pretty. It was really nice, and I think it'll be nice this morning as well. I've been wanting to come back here and just try it again, get some new photos here, see what I can do a year later with a new camera, and see if I can't get something a little bit better than I did last year, or just something different, because I really liked it here. It was really fun to explore a very natural area, and so that's what I'm going to do today. Now, again, like I said, it is past golden hour right now, so the light's a little brighter, but what I'm trying to take advantage of today is the way that different scenes look better under different lights. So I already actually went out and did a photo shoot at golden hour, and now that it's a little later, I've come over here and I'm going to be in the trees, and I think with that, the little bit more sort of dappled light coming down through the trees will actually be a little more pleasing. One other thing today, as you may notice, I have this new piece of wardrobe that's hat here. I'm honestly not really a big hat person, which is why you've never seen me wear a hat before, but I wanted something to keep the bugs from flying around landing on my head, and my girlfriend said that she liked this one, so if you don't like it, I don't care. Her opinion matters more, but it also keeps the sun out of my eyes, and I have problems with landscape photography with the sun being in my eyes, but then when I put on sunglasses I can't see the camera as well, and so it's just a lose-lose. And so I thought maybe if I put this hat on, it will shield my eyes from the sun a little bit while still allowing me to see my camera. Now, as I recall, this right here is the way that you get down to this scenic river. There's a very tiny path off of the main path that allows you to get down there, and I think it might actually be more overgrown than it was last year. It was pretty overgrown last year, but just kind of got to make my way down through the trees here. Okay, so I decided that the path that I took last year is definitely too grown over this year. I wasn't really a path last last year, but you know, a route. So I found what might be a new way to get down to the river. I'm gonna give it a try. If this doesn't work, I can go back out to the road and go to the bridge that crosses over the river, which isn't too far, and try to get down that way. We'll see what works here. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm just kind of making my way through almost chest deep weeds here, and then I'm just about to go into these trees, kind of like a deer trail or something. Okay, so definitely a lot of thick stuff to walk through, but I have finally come into sight of the river that I'm trying to get to. So that's really good. I think I can make my way right down through here. So that just confirms that that probably is a deer trail that I came down. I don't know if other people really go down that way too much or not, but it did provide a way through the undergrowth, all of the thick honeysuckle, to get me down here to this river, and it's looking really pretty down here, so I'm going to try to get a few shots here along the water and then slide back out again. You probably can't really tell on the camera so much, but the ground is extremely muddy here next to the edge of the river, so I'm going to just have to work with that a little bit. However, there's two compositions that I'm kind of seeing straight away. One is out there, that tree that's overarching the water. I love the way that the reflection under that tree looks. And then also back up the other way, all the trees along there are reflecting really nicely as well on the water. And so just really hoping to be able to make use of that today. So what I'm kind of thinking for these, actually, even though I brought the tripod all the way out here, is handheld shots. Just dealing with the ground being as muddy as it is, the underbrush, and all of that. I think it would just be easier to hold the camera in my hand and try to work it around these branches, than try to set up the tripod in the mud. You know, it's going to be getting all dirty. And so I think I'm just going to leave it up on the drier ground, and bring the camera down here by itself and just go for handheld shots. Muddy ground like this is when I like to use a feature of this camera bag, the flip side option, where you can flip it around and get your camera out without setting the bag down. That is not something that I typically actually use that much. That's a little bit awkward, but when the ground is really dirty, it's helpful. And if you are looking for a camera bag, I do have a review of this one, so I'll leave a link to it up top. So you can check that out. I think it's probably my most popular video. Not really sure why, but maybe there aren't a lot of great reviews of this bag yet. I'm just going to get some handheld shots now. Probably going to switch over to the aperture priority mode and use a tighter aperture just so that everything stays in focus. And and try to keep my ISO relatively low, but turn it up as needed so that I can make sure that my shutter speed isn't too low since I am shooting handheld. The ISO on this camera, this is the Nikon Z6ii, of course. The ISO on this can go pretty high before it really starts to cause too much grain in your photos. So I'm not super worried about that. So I'm going to set the aperture around f11 probably. I'm going to be zoomed in a lot, but I don't think I'm going to have too much depth in these photos, and that'll make sure that everything looks sharp. And then just going to try to make my way around in the mud a little bit and get some shots. I'm going to meter for my highlights, so I'm going to set it onto the Z6ii's highlight weighted metering and work with my exposure compensation as well. And then that way I can pull the shadows up later on. I can do that on the computer much more easily. That can bring back anything in the highlights. However, I also don't think I'm going to really use the sky that much in these photos. I think these are going to be real life photos of the trees on the water. The sky is not interesting today. It's not golden hour anymore. It's not a sunrise or sunset. There's not really clouds in the sky. It's a very flat sky. And so just trying to not really use that too much since it's not interesting. Just focus on what's interesting in the photo. I really like the symmetry that I have here of the reflection in the water. I've shot a few photos that I like over there. I got a few photos where I actually zoomed out more and incorporated the sky a little bit with the metering on the sky so that the sky looks nice and blue. The trees, hopefully I'll be able to pull up a little bit in my editing, but I don't really know in the field for sure whether I'll be able to do that or not. And then I got some nice close-up photos of the one tree that I pointed out. And so I think those will turn out really nice. There's not too much to talk you guys through with these. If you're out, shooting trees, you pretty much know what to do. I've put the camera on out of the aperture mode to just kind of let it do the work for me. And so it's just a matter really of finding good compositions. Now for the composition that I went with over there, I'll put it up on the screen for you. But I basically was just trying to go for a lot of symmetry between the reflection in the water and the tree up above, and then use the curvature of the branches as well to lead your eye to kind of one central point in the photo. And so the way that the branches curved around the top and bottom, I felt like kind of led your eye over, and I just put that in kind of the left third area, and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a symmetry and a subject, even though it's just a general woodland scene. And so I think that that's pretty nice. I really like the reflection in the water today. This water can be fairly brown, but today with this light, it's got a good reflection going. So I'm going to try to shoot some photos over this direction of some different trees with just the same thing in mind. of the things that I find to be really cool about woodland photography is that it provides a lot of different and unique opportunities. So you have the option for, really isolating a tree. You have the option for very dense, more abstract photos of trees. There's lots of different kinds of subjects that you can capture in woodland photography, which is pretty cool. I was just noticing as I was filming this that a spider, while I was taking photos, has made a little web over my lens from the lens to the mic. We'll just get that off of there. So I think that I say this at the end of a lot of my landscape photography videos, but I'm really finding that I've just exhausted the light at this location. It's not as good as it was when I got here. And so with that, and having gotten a few compositions that I like, it is time for me to head out. I've gotten my gear packed up, and so I'm just gonna pick my way back out of here down that little deer trail and make my way back to the car and head home. So it's now 9:15 in the morning, so we're now 3 hours after sunrise. I think I'll start trying to, if I remember in the future, just let you guys know kind of our distance from sunrise or sunset, so you have some idea of the kind of light that you get at different times of the day, because I don't see that a lot on YouTube, and I think that would be helpful to see. But you can see here's the way that the light looks over here. It actually looks a little better in the camera than it does with my eyes, I think, because the exposure is a little lower there. But it's starting to get to be kind of flat light, kind of washed out in the tops of the trees up here. And so I just think that it's pretty much time to go. There's not too many more compositions that I can get to here anyways, and the light's not really amazing now, and so I think that I'm good with what I've gotten. I've gotten several compositions of kind of the woodland over the water that I think that I'm happy with. So with that, I'm gonna try to make my way back out down this path. Okay guys, well I made it out of the woods successfully, and so now it's just a straight shot back to the car, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and end the video here. And so if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out and to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss more videos that I'm really excited to share with you in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So here's a random tip that's really more hiking than photography related, but just for cleanup after the hike, really recommend getting some like baby wipes, basically these single individually packed wet wipes. Get something with the alcohol in it. Usually the antibacterial ones will have that. That'll help to break down any poison ivy oils that you might have picked up if you got into any poison ivy along the way. As well as I'd like to have a spare pair of shoes in the car so that when I'm in the mud, I can change my shoes before I drive. So that's your random tip at the end of this video.